7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother. Welcome to the most listened to international podcast around the world. Hakeem and Reggie Brown are two young African-American boys speaking the truth. This is Pop City Culture.
What up, everybody? We doing it right here, doing Pop City Culture, and I am Reggie, and I'm here with my brother Hakeem. Take it away, Hakeem.
Hi, welcome, and we're here doing our podcast, Pop City Culture, and today we are going to be talking about bullying, teen suicide. That's really bad what's going on in the world right now. There are so many bullies and so many teens committing suicide. It's just out of control. And it's a pandemic, you know? And Reggie, do you know what a pandemic is?
Yeah, man, I know what a pandemic is. It's something that's like prevalent over a whole country or the world, right?
Yeah, that's right. And bullying, you know what that is, right?
Yeah, man, why you keep asking me stupid stuff like that? Anybody who wants to seek harm, intimidate, or coerce somebody, someone perceived as vulnerable, weak, or kind or something, who don't want to fight back because they're the stronger person, I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, Reggie, I know what you're saying. So, you know, it's tough being a teen today, especially when you're bullied, because there are so many ways to bully somebody. A lot of it now is cyberbullying, and kids can be so mean. It's unbelievable. But I mean, is anybody born mean? I mean, is anybody born a bully?
No, man, we talked about that in our last episode. You said that bullies were made, not born, and it happens at an early age. And if this normal aggression, like 2 years old, isn't handled correctly, children fail to acquire the internal restraints against such behavior. I know you didn't think I was listening.
I knew you were listening, Reggie. But bullying remains a very durable behavior style, largely because bullies get away with what they want, at least at first, And there's a lot of psychological features of these bullies.
Like what?
And it's very harmful. A lot of these bullies basically need medical help. They should actually see some kind of a doctor because there's obviously something wrong in their brain. It's just wired wrong. It's like a sickness. Some of these people are sick too, But, I guess for now, all we can do is what? Pray for them.
A lot of praying.
Because, unless they want to get help, they're just going to infect everybody else.
That's right, man. They're going to infect everybody because, it's like a fire, man. You light a fire and it just catches, man. It just burns and destroys. Sort of like what bullies do to people's lives. And, bullies don't even care because, and like I told you last time, I know some bullies growing up, and there's bullies in the neighborhood, but they can destroy a person.
Very true.
And they so sick in the head, they don't realize they can destroy a family.
Many families.
Too, And that's generations. Just because they sick in the head and they just want to be a bully. It's sad if you ask me. Them people really do need some kind of help. It's a sickness, man. It's a sickness that should have been addressed when they were 2 years old.
We're going to talk about kids who were bullied and they died. So I'm just letting everybody know, if you're listening to this show, we're going to be talking about kids who died, and we're going to let you know exactly what happened. Because being bullied ranges for a lot of reasons. It can range from color,
Yep.
Religion.
That's right.
Sexual identity, anything, the way you're dressed, the way you don't dress, the way you look, the way you don't look. It's sad. And these bullies, these sick people will just bully anybody. And I'd hate to see them when they grow up and turn into adults, because then you really got a problem, But, there's a lot of adults that are bullies too. But in this episode, we're just going to be talking about teen suicide and kids.
Hakeem, maybe we should be talking about, adult bullying on our next episode. That'd be something, because I'm sure there's a lot of adults out there who like to bully and do stuff like that.
Yeah, Reggie. I I think we will do something like that. That actually sounds pretty interesting. And today we're going to be talking about this. Okay, so do you think you can keep up with me, Reggie?
Yo, man, you did it again. You trying to make me look stupid. I told you, man, don't be trying to make me look stupid in front of the world now that we're like international and everybody all over the world is listening to us. Yo, man, that just ain't right. Yo, man, you making me sick again. Just get on with the show. Just get on with the show. Just get on.
Okay, Reggie, whatever you want. Well, we're going to talk about, this is like a really early one. Can you imagine this? William Arthur Gibbs. He was born in 1865, and he died 1877. He was a boarder at Christ Hospital School in Sussex. I believe that's in England. He committed suicide by hanging himself on May 4th, 1877, and he was 12 years old after being bullied and beaten.
That's a shame.
This caused an outcry, and the government subsequently held an official inquiry. I'm not sure exactly what happened after that, but can you imagine that? This has been around for
How long's it been around?
over 100 years and more.
Oh, man, that's just sick. That's just bad. You telling me, man, over 100 years, we can't take care of this sickness?
Well, apparently not, because these people are still bullying, and it's still being grown, homegrown, and it's really too bad, because this is probably one of the earliest ones, earliest bullying, suicide things noted here in history. But I'm sure there's more. But, then there was Kelly Yeomans. In 1984, she was born, and she died in 1997. She was 13 years old.
That is so young.
Now, she was an English schoolgirl from Derby suburbs of Allington. It became widespread news when the cause was blamed on bullying to which she had been subjected by the local children.
Say what?
She was reported to be the victim of repeated harassment and taunting, particularly about her weight. So, as we know, people can bully you for your weight too.
Man, are you serious? People be, just because somebody, oh, man, this is making me sick, man. There's just some mean kids out there, man. There's just some mean, vicious kids. I just can't understand how in the world this can go on, man. Go on. Go on, Hakeem. Tell me more.
Well, matters came to the head in September 1997 when a group of youth reportedly gathered at Yeoman's home on several consecutive nights, on each occasion throwing food at the house and shouting taunts aimed at Yeomans. This prompted Yeoman to tell her family. 5 youths between the age of 5 and 17 were convinced of intentionally harassing Yeomans in the months leading up to her death. So she died of an overdose. That's really too bad.
Yo, man, that's really too bad. Nobody should be taking that kind of harassment. That's just terrible, man. That's just terrible, man. That's terrible.
Well, Reggie, Jared High, he was 13 years old. He was a middle school student. He committed suicide after being bullied, and he died September 29th, 1998, 6 days after his 13th birthday.
Oh, man, that breaks my heart, man. That's just too young. I just can't, I just don't get it, man. People gotta bully like that. It's just something, you really opened up my eyes last time because, we're not going to school now, so we're doing everything online. And I just hope a lot of people aren't doing cyberbullying online because that's the only connection we got to our friends and to the school. And are there laws against cyberbullying?
Well, yes, Reggie. They're making a lot of laws about cyberbullying because it's a rampant thing, and people should not be doing stuff like that. So, there are places now that are really getting on the ball on this stuff because they don't want kids responsible for the deaths of people like that, So here's another girl. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. Salajana Vidovic. Well, she was 16 from Mentor, Ohio. She hanged herself by jumping from a window with a sheet around her neck. She and her family were from Croatia. Because of her accent and her name, other students called her names like, well, I'm not even gonna repeat the names because it's really not necessary. But we should know that they just called her names, and it got to her. Reggie, have you ever been called names?
Yeah, man, I've been called names, but we had an episode last time about bullying, and I realized it wasn't just kids making fun of me or playing around. They were really being mean, and that is a form of bullying. So you made me realize that I shouldn't be taking stuff like that. I gotta tell somebody and get them in trouble so they stop, because the next person they do it to, they could kill themselves. And I don't want to be responsible for anybody dying. You know, I would hope that I have a heart and a soul, but it sounds like these bullies, they don't have a heart and they don't have a soul to save themselves. And maybe you think they're unhappy people?
Yes, Reggie, I think they're very unhappy. And usually, like we said before, bullies always try to put you down to make themselves feel good, to make themselves feel superior, because they lack any kind of self-esteem. And they're such miserable people that they just want to lash out. But many times, too, they also want to have an audience. If they can have an audience to get people to laugh at somebody, to stand there and say, hey, look at me, look what I can do to another
Just shaking my head.
kind human being who doesn't deserve something like this. Look, I'm very special because I have the ability to break somebody down and talk about them behind their back and, gossip. And that's what bullies do. They always love to have an audience.
Yep.
They always love to gossip. They love to tear people down. And like you said in the beginning, they're just sick, sad people. And it's really too bad because this world does not need bullies.
True that.
I mean, we have enough terrible people in the world. We have murderers. We have people who assault people. And, this is just sad, that murderers and bullies, I'm going to tell you, I believe they're in the same category. I don't think there's any difference between a murderer and a bully. I think they're both the same.
Agreed.
I think they're both sick, and I think they need help. And it's very, very too bad
Very bad.
that we have to tolerate this kind of behavior in this great world that we live in. Because if we got rid of all these bullies, the world would definitely be a better place. At least it would be a start.
Yo, you're right. You're right, Hakeem. It would be a start because, everybody wants to live in peace. Everybody wants to be in a world that's safe, where you don't have to be attacked every day by some bully or a murderer, because, that's what bullies are. Bullies are murderers because they'll taunt you till you get murdered. And you know what? I will bet you these sick bullies who murder people by making them commit suicide, they go home and they have a bowl of cereal and they don't care because they're narcissists. They're narcissists. They're just evil people. And, the world just doesn't need people like that.
Reggie, you're absolutely right. I'm really glad you can see stuff like this.
Thank you.
Because you're right. The world does not need people like this. And it's terrible that there are people in the world like this.
Sure is terrible.
Let me tell you about somebody named Tyler Long. He was 17 years old. Okay. Now, Tyler, he was a homosexual student with Asperger's syndrome. And because of his homosexuality and disability, students would steal from him. They'd spit on him in the cafeteria, and they would spit in his cafeteria food and call him, horrible, horrible names. And like I said, I'm not going to repeat these horrible names because it's just feeding fuel to the fire. I'm not going to be one of those people who just keep saying bad names like that. But it's terrible that people have to label people like this,
Yeah, I know.
And because nobody needs to be labeled. And believe me, being African American, labels is a terrible thing, because labels can stick. But I don't want to go off on a tangent. But when it came to Tyler Long, the school responded to them by saying that boys will be boys, or
Oh, heck
he
no.
just took it the wrong way. On October 17, 2009, 2 months into his junior year of high school, Tyler Long changed his pajamas into his favorite t-shirt and jeans. He strapped a belt around his neck and hanged himself from the top shelf of his bedroom closet.
Man, are you serious? That is terrible. Oh my God. Oh my God. Man, this is a sick world, man. Why? Oh my God. I just don't like it when people when people, oh my God, I really don't like bullies. I don't like bullies at all. They bullied this guy to death. It's terrible.
That's right. And the story of his suicide was later told in the 2011 documentary Bully. You know, there was a girl, Phoebe Prince. She was from Ireland. She was 15 years old, an American high school student, and she died by hanging herself. This followed by the school bullying and cyber bullying. You know, her kids would throw trash at her. They'd call her names. They'd pull her hair. They'd vandalize her locker.
Man, that is
And
terrible.
teachers knew what was going on. The principal knew. Everybody knew, but they didn't do nothing. They just stood by.
Are you serious? People just stood by and did nothing? Man, what kind of people do stuff like that? You know, man, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's right. Because the bottom line is, and I've always said this, if someone was being sexually abused and everybody was standing around watching it and they did nothing and they knew this was going on, they are just as guilty and sick as that bully.
I got to agree,
because
Hakeem.
they should have done something. But, you know, maybe their brains are wired differently too.
Must be.
Because, you know, good people would do something.
Absolutely.
Bad people don't do anything. They just watch a crime. And that's what it is, a crime. They would watch a crime like this happen over and over and over. So, you know, people who watch bullies do bullying things, they're murderers too. They're just as good as a murder. It's terrible because they should say something. Like they say, you see something, you say something. And that's the way it should be with everything. So Phoebe Prince, she died. She killed herself. But her death led to the criminal prosecution of 6 teenagers who were charged with her suicide, including her civil rights violations, as well as the enactment of stricter bullying legislation by the Massachusetts legislature, which was put into place. Prince had moved from Ireland, like I said, to South Hadley in the United States of Massachusetts. And her suicide after suffering months of bullying from her school classmates brought international attention to the problem of bullying in the U.S. schools. So, you know, it's a terrible.
Yo, so what happened? She have any sisters or anything?
Yeah, she had a sister. And after her death, they took the body back to Ireland, her parents, because they didn't want her child buried on a land they felt was hateful and full of bullies. You know, they came here from Ireland hoping to make a better life and for their kids. And can you imagine picking up everything you ever knew, leaving the land you were born in from generations, moving somewhere only to have people in that land murder your child? Murder with bullying. And I'm going to keep saying that.
No,
she
Doc,
was murdered.
I can't imagine
Murdered
that.
by these bullies, because bullies are murderers, if you ask me. Because when
If you ask me too.
they can drive somebody to kill themselves, that's murder. I don't care what anybody says. That's just murder. And it's really too bad. Really, really too bad. So, I wanted to mention Tyler Clementi. He was 18. Now, this is an 18-year-old. So I'm telling you, this doesn't just happen to really, really young kids. But let me tell you about this 18-year-old, Tyler. He was a student at Rutgers University in New Jersey. He jumped to his death from the George Washington Bridge on September 22nd, 2010. On September 19th, his roommate and a fellow hallmate allegedly used a webcam to view, without his knowledge, him kissing another man. And on September 21st, the day prior to his suicide, the roommate allegedly urged friends and Twitter followers to watch the webcam with him and his friend on it.
Man, who would do something like that?
You know, and he just jumped to his death and committed suicide. His death brought national and international attention to the issue of cyberbullying and the struggles facing LGBT youth, which is a big thing. You know, nobody has the right, nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, has the right to intimidate or make fun of you or ridicule you.
I agree.
If you are gay or whatever color you are or whatever weight you are, anything like that, it's nobody has that right to bully a person like that to their death. It's sick,
It sure is.
you know.
You're absolutely right. It's sick, man. I don't like that. I really don't like, man. I knew that this podcast wasn't going to be a happy one. It was going to be an informational one, full of information about kids who end up committing suicide. And, I'm glad we're doing this because we basically wanted to let the world know exactly what's going on. Because I don't think people realize what kind of a pandemic this is.
I don't think they realize it either.
Kids get bullied all the time. And we don't see it because, sometimes you don't see it, sometimes you do see it. But if you do see it, you should say something.
That's right. And, there was this 11-year-old black kid, Carl Joseph Walker Hoover. He committed suicide after repeated tauntings from bullies. So, this here made world news.
Man, there just ain't no end to this.
Kids were just bullying him because he was gay. And he hung himself in his house, and his mother found him. And I can't imagine, being a parent finding your child. And you know why they bullied him? Do you want to know why these sick murderers, these sick bullies, taunted him and bullied him?
I don't know why. Why?
They did it because he was gay. And it just makes no sense. So what if somebody's gay? So what if somebody's heterosexual? So what if somebody is overweight? So what if somebody is skinny, or they dye their hair blue or purple, or they wear contact lenses, or they want to dress the way they want? It makes no sense for anybody to sit there and bully somebody. This needs to really stop. I'm really getting heated here, Reggie, because I'm really getting upset just looking at page after page, and that's what we have here. We have pages of stuff of kids who are bullied. It's just so, it's just the saddest thing you ever wanted to see. 13-year-old Salvation Army girl Kelly Yeoman. Stephen Santon, 6, collapsed and died in terror of a bully pack almost a year to the day after the death of Joanna Canlin in the same tough schoolyard. February 1996, Catherine J. Morris, 16, takes an overdose. And the list goes on. Peter Evans, 11, crushed under the wheels of a lorry, trying to escape a bully gang. Denise Bally, 14, dies from taking pills after being bullied. Neil Ross, 17, hangs himself. Daniel Overfield, 12, hangs himself. Martin Harvey, a longtime victim, collapsed and died when bully gang charged him in the playground. Child prodigy James Lambeth, 16, bullied because of his genius. Because he was a genius, he gasses himself in his father's car. Mark McGoughlin hanged himself from a tree because he was bullying. Schoolgirl dancer Kelly Farger, 13, kills herself with her father's heart pills after telling friends she had been teased at school. 14-year-old Amanda Browbridge overdosed because of bullying. In September 1994, Lynette McGoughlin hanged herself by her own dressing gown cord because of bullying. Jeremiah Bryn Daniels, 14, dies of an overdose after being bullied at school. And guess what? This wasn't by students. This wasn't by his friends. This was by teachers. So adults are bullying these kids too. It just makes me sick to my stomach that these kids have to put up with stuff like this. I just cannot believe the world we live in. I just cannot believe. It's sad.
I know, man, it's sad. I'm over. It's just making me tear up because you're right, man. Nobody should have to be dealing with this.
Yeah, that's right. But do you know many LGBTQ youth who died by suicide are bullied before their death? Studies find.
No, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
that's right. A new study looking at hundreds of LGBTQ youth who died by suicides find that many were bullied before their death, adding to a growing body of evidence showing how bullies can result in deadly consequences. This is the sad thing. It's just breaks my heart. Bullies attack the core of our foundation of adolescents' well-being, said John Pakenis, a professor at Yale School of Public Health and a co-author of the study, by showing that bullies are also associated with life itself. Something has to be done. More legislation, more something.
A whole lot of something.
There's, Mesa family didn't know a 10-year-old girl was being cyberbullied until after she killed herself.
Say, what? Are you serious? Man, 10 years old?
Yeah, just 10 years old. Marian Hernandez Rojas smiled a lot and was the strongest and bravest kid her brothers knew. She was one of a kind, 23-year-old, Angel Rojas said. Marian loved bright colors and had a penchant of 80s fashions that she used to wear all the time, which is why Rojas played retro white oval sunglasses over her eyes for her burial. One day before she would have been 11, she killed herself.
Oh, no.
That's right. Marian killed herself. Her family later found out she'd been cyberbullied and had been self-harmed since the 4th grade.
So you're telling me that the family didn't even know she was being, harassed and bullied?
No, because sometimes a lot of these kids who are victims, they just keep it to themselves because they just, that they're hurt. They feel they have nowhere to go because nobody will listen. I mean, everybody knew what was going on, but they didn't do anything. This is the sick thing. Everybody knew what was going on except for the family. Can you imagine if the family just had a chance or an opportunity? They could have saved her life. That's right. And they said she was really good at hiding it. It's just, the suicide rate for people 10 to 14 years old tripled from 2007 to 2017. And that's according to a 2019 report from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention.
So, this is very bad. So, Hakeem, you're telling me that the Center for Disease Control and Prevention consider bullying like a disease?
Yeah, that's right. I would consider it a disease too because it's just killing people and it's going rampant, unchecked. And it's a terrible thing. Do you know suicide is now the leading cause of death for kids 10 to 14 following unintentional injury, according to the CDC data?
I didn't know that.
I mean, it's terrible. Data from the organization also shows Arizona's suicide rate is among the highest in the country, with 19.2 deaths per 100,000 people. Suicide is the 8th highest cause of death in Arizona. It's just terrible, and nobody should have to go through anything like that. I mean, you got classmates of a 4th grader. The 4th grader died by suicide. He was bullied. That was in Tennessee. When this was in 2019. It says neighbors are demanding change after a 4th grade boy they say was bullied at school killed himself. Brittany Blackwell said the student, who we are not naming out of respect for his family's privacy, was like family. It just broke their heart because
breaks my heart too.
Now they know and they have felt tragedy in their lives, and it's terrible. Nobody should have to go through something like this. Bullying is like a terrible thing. But I do want to say something. In fact, Reggie, why don't you say it?
Okay, I know what I want to say. I want to say the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline phone number is 1-800-273-8255. And I'm going to say it again. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. 1-800-273-8255. And there's other international suicide helplines can be found on befriender.org. I'm going to repeat that. You can also find other international suicide helplines because, we are an international podcast now. We go all over the world, and this happens in every country. And you can find numbers on BEFRIENDERS.org. BEFRIENDERS.org. And you can also text TALK to 741-741, and that's free, and it's anonymous, and it's 24/7 crisis support. That's in the United States from the Crisis Text Hotline. So I just want everybody to know, I don't like bullying. I think it's a sick thing. And I know my brother, he don't like bullying.
That's right. I don't like bullying. I think every bully, when I see a bully, I see a murderer. That's what I see, a potential murderer, like Jeffrey Dahmer, like Hitler. They're just the worst kind of people who ever walked the face of the earth, because there's no reason for anybody to be a bully, especially nowadays when everybody should be more evolved and more kind. If the world was more kind, it'd be such a better place. But I'm going to have to take it down a notch, because right now, you know what time it is, Reggie?
Yeah, I know what time it is.
Yeah, it's time for my words of wisdom. These sick murderers who are bullies, who should seek medical help, need to know that they do more damage in the world than any disease, plague, or natural disaster. In fact, these bullies are an unnatural disaster that need to be wiped off the face of the earth. Who do these murderers who are bullies think they are to gossip, lie, demean, put down, and victimize those who want no part of their sick and demented world? Who do these evil animals think they are to destroy a person with a world of hope? Who do these evil animals think they are to destroy a person? They use degradation and humiliate these people, having witnesses so they can cheer on their bad behavior. It is sick that we, the civilized people in the world, have to put up with the foul and disgusting people who drive kids to kill themselves like this. I only hope that one day there is a vaccine for these sick, twisted murderers we call bullies. Then the world will be a safer place, not only for the victims who fear these predators each day, but the world will be a safe haven for everyone. And that's what we all want each day, to be safe and free from bullies and comments, so we can get on with our lives and be happy.
That was beautiful, Hakeem. I want to thank you for that. So now we're going to take you out. I want to thank you for listening to Pop City Culture. Everybody, have a great day. I really hope you learned something from this. Keep your chin up, and if you're bullied, remember, we got your back. We always going to listen. And just peace out and be happy. You can survive. Don't forget the numbers. We all love you here. Have a good day, everybody.
Have a good one, everybody. See you next time on Pop City Culture.